Big breaking news, folks. The FCC is finally taking a hard look at The View. That's right, the most ridiculous daytime circus on TV, suffering from severe Trump derangement syndrome, could be stripped of its bona fide news protections. Watch as FCC Chair Brendan Carr just went on Scott Jennings' podcast and dropped a bomb.
A lot of people think there are other shows on ABC that maybe run afoul of this more often than Jimmy Kimmel. I'm thinking specifically of The View. And President Trump himself has mentioned Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers at NBC. Just wondering, do you have comments on those shows? And are they doing what Kimmel did Monday night? And is it even worse on those programs, in your opinion?
The FCC does have a rule called the equal opportunity rule, which means, for instance, if you're in a run-up to an election, you have one partisan elected official on, you have to give equal time, equal opportunity to the opposing partisan politician. So far, so good. But there's an exception to that rule called the bona fide news exception, which means if you are a bona fide news program, you don't have to abide by the equal opportunity rule. And over the years, the FCC has developed a body of case law on that and has suggested that most of these late night shows, other than SNL, are bona fide news programs. And potentially, I would assume you could make the argument that The View is a bona fide news show. But I'm not so sure about that. And I think it's worthwhile to have the FCC look into whether The View and some of these other programs that you have still qualify as bona fide news programs and therefore exempt from the equal opportunity regime that Congress has put in place.
Did you hear that? Carr says The View might not even be a bona fide news program. If it isn't, ABC would have to give Republicans, including President Trump, equal airtime. We don't need an FCC review to know the truth. It's nonstop leftist commentary, spinning harmful narratives as facts. But really, which Republican would want to sit alongside Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest? But this isn't random. Scott Jennings has been calling out severe media bias for months. Last night, Scott had to explain why ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel isn't a restriction of free speech. It's a matter of public interest. As you'd expect, CNN is spinning this as a move to protect President Trump because FCC Chair Brendan Carr is a Trump appointee.
You use the phrase propaganda, Professor, and I just have to ask you, what do you consider what Jimmy Kimmel was doing every night or what Stephen Colbert was doing by having on only Democratic guests? Jimmy Kimmel Monday night flat lied about the shooter. Back in the spring, he egged his audience on in cheering on the violence against and wanting, kind of wishing, I think, the downfall of a publicly traded company, Tesla. Do you consider that to be propaganda? Is it good for a business?
Do you consider that to be free speech, Scott?
You use the phrase propaganda.
I'm asking you. You used the words free speech before. Do you consider that free speech?
I consider it to be speech, and he's obviously free to say it.
Will you defend that speech? In this country that will defend to the death the speech of others, will you defend Jimmy Kimmel's speech?
Do I defend Jimmy Kimmel going on television and saying that a shooter from the left?
Do you defend his right to do so?
He has a right to do so, but he does not have a right to have a television show where he lies his ass off to the American people and attacks half this country on a nightly basis.
Exactly. The left protects their comedians, their late-night clowns, their daytime panels, as long as they trash conservatives. But when they get called out, suddenly they're victims. Well, President Trump himself had a few words for Kimmel, and let's just say he didn't hold back.
Mickey Mouse pulled the plug, and Jimmy Kimmel's not happy. Almost half of ABC's affiliates were threatening to black out his show that night. Advertisers were burning up the phones. ABC executives were getting flooded with emails. Disney boss Bob Iger wanted Kimmel to apologize, but Kimmel said, "No way, Bob."
So, as you can see, two of ABC's biggest affiliate owners, Nexstar and Sinclair, weren't exactly thrilled with Kimmel's Monday night monologue about Charlie Kirk. And they had every right to be furious. Just listen to Jesse Waters and Sean Hannity, both ripped into Kimmel's pathetic performance over the years.
Is Kimmel even worth it? Look at his ratings from the last 15 years. Look at that. He should have been let go a long time ago. He assassinated his own numbers. The Disney stock price, that hasn't gone up in the last 4 years.
Jimmy Kimmel simply failed at his job. He lost his audience, then he lost revenue, and then stations, groups, they had enough after this comment, about a husband and father of two. They said enough's enough, low ratings, no money. What's the point? He did this to himself. Nobody pushed, he jumped.
Let me know in the comments. If a strong Republican voice sat across from the ladies of The View, would you actually tune in?